The chase, lead driver goals, complete a 100-point run. Essentially, Akiba once again, Mike, he's finding the grip somewhere. God knows what. More contact from Caldwell.
Across the line, Mondello Park, hit him with a wall of sound. Ryusei Akiba! Akiba!
His second outing here in Mondello Park.
Absolutely, so it is fantastic to have a Japanese driver competing in our domestic championship here in Ireland, as the one and only Ryusei Akiba fires the Sylvia in over the hill here in Mondello Park, has a slight adjustment, drops a wheel as a result, but he's still in it here. Look at the smoke billowing from the back of the S15, in fact. What a beautiful car, what a beautiful livery. Look at the driving style, Japanese driving style all the way, loses his back bumper, hits the throttle and across the line. Guys, let's hear it for the Japanese driver Ryusei Akiba.
Yeah, Ryusei.
We actually have to give Ryusei a score first, and actually Ryusei, guys, tops qualifying with a score of 83, so Ryusei Akiba will be delighted with that, topping qualifying so far with a score of 83. Should see him in the show to maintain angle, and unfortunately there Mark went for the steering wheel and it caught him out.
So our next driver on the line is the Japanese driver Ryusei Akiba. It's 83 on the first run. Can he improve on that? Coming out with all the flair, all the speed. Here we go, Ryusei. His second time competing here, throws it in on massive angle. Oh, Ryusei! Lots of speed, lots of angle as he comes by Mobile 1 and he looks to finish off this first run in style. Big angle now, can he throw it onto the wall in front of the grandstand? Ryusei, once more, big run here from the Japanese driver as he crossed the line. Mondello Park, hit him with a wall of sound. Ryusei Akiba!
Akiba!
Wow, what a run from Ryusei Akiba. An 83 on the first run, but it's a 96.3. Mondello Park, give him an Irish welcome.
From right now here in Battle Action, and I'm sure that we're going to be seeing a fantastic evening's entertainment here as we go to our first battle here. Speaking of entertainment, it's Ryusei Akiba putting in that crazy 96 point something qualifying run there against 22nd position qualifier Damien McKiernan.
Well, on a track that everybody else seemed to struggle on, Ryusei Akiba thrived on. Now, what can he do in the battles as he takes on Damien McKiernan, the pro rookie this year? Touch of understeer for Ryusei, but Damien McKiernan breaking numbers big.
Yeah, Damien McKiernan just couldn't live with the entry there of Ryusei Akiba. Huge flick entry from the Japanese driver. Maybe a little bit of a correction at clip 2, but Damien McKiernan just got caught a little bit there, could not stick with the entry of Akiba, and as a result that crazy entry of Akiba did enough to put McKiernan at a 10-0 disadvantage here, Eddie. And as you mentioned, it can...
Yeah, and it is important to note that in this situation where we do have, say, a 10-0, so to speak, advantage in favour of one driver, when they now go into the chase position, it is important that while they don't need to be as close or as aggressive as they normally might be, they shouldn't avoid chasing too hard, because they can be penalised for being in what we would refer to as an inactive chase. So if something like that happens, we will talk you through it a little bit later. Here we go, second half of this one. McKiernan to lead them in, pressure on as Ryusei comes hunting for the door, Mike.
Yeah, Akiba doesn't have to go this hard here, guys, but maybe he's putting himself in with some twin battle practice for later on, because he knows he's going to know from his spotter that he's at a huge advantage here. But Akiba is still putting it on the door. McKiernan, look at this. McKiernan now gets that perfect qualifying run, but Akiba is right there with him, and that is our first twin battle in the bag.
Yeah, what a way to kick off the top 32 here in Mondello Park for round 1 of the Irish Drift Series here at Japfest. And barring any major surprises, it should be a straightforward decision here, and it is Ryusei Akiba moving on to the top 16.
Guys, the rain has just started here in Mondello Park. Wow, the rain is coming down. You will see it.
Yeah, this really changes the whole look of the competition here.
Well,
and
does this swing advantage McInerney here, Eddie, because he will be used to entering in the rain here. Well, Ryusei has never entered Mondello in the rain, I would say.
The big advantage here is that he's in the chase position, so he can just hold back and see if Ryusei gets through the first corner. The problem is, if Ryusei does get through the first corner, there's a huge gap, and that's exactly what's happened, Mike.
Wow, props to Ryusei there. This corner is so slippy in Mondello Park when it gets wet. Ryusei, no stranger to driving in the rain in Japan either, of course, but very good entry there from Ryusei. McInerney leaving a big gap back. Welcome to the top 16, guys. We are in the midst of the action already, and McInerney now is closing the door. Look at the BMW. It really seems to have the grip there on the Sylvia as both drivers cross the line.
Driver trap, and they are good to go. Get the orders from the marshal, and we are about to find out who's going to take it into the top 8. Which one of these two stallions will it be? McInerney throws on big angle as he fires through the first corner. Nice and tentative now as Ryusei tries to avoid making contact, backs off a little bit, and now makes a big dive onto the door as they come into outer zone 4. Much better line here from McInerney this time around. Can he find something special through the final few zones?
Yeah, lovely chase here from Ryusei.
Sorry, Mike.
It's a lovely chase here from Ryusei. Just backs out of it at the end there, but overall a fantastic chase there from Ryusei. So guys, in wet, tricky conditions, can we hear a big round of applause please for Jason McInerney and Ryusei Akiba?
So here we go. They are on the line. It looks like they're ready to go. Ryusei Akiba and Jakub Kuzcek to kick off the Strom Wheels Grade 8. We are almost ready to go. The marshal gives the order.
Look at Ryusei's car. Wow.
Look at the colours on the grid here. Absolutely spectacular. You'd swear you were in California, but no.
Whoa.
It's Mondello Park.
Look at the
Big
speed.
Gap opens up here. And Ryusei.
Where's he finding the grip? Where is
You've
Ryusei?
taken the words right out of my mouth. Where is he finding the grip on this circuit? Because he's found grip where
Kuba.
no one else could find it. Now Kuba makes the charge and tries to join the chat here. Sorry, Mike. Do you know what? I took a step back. I think both of us are there with our jaws on the floor. So they are lined up, ready for the second half of this one. It is Jakub Kuzcek now in the lead position with Ryusei in the chase. Could we see the Japanese driver take down one of the championship contenders here? So here we go. Big weight transfer entry here, and huge angle for Jakub, but it catches him off as he makes a big straighten now. No problems for Ryusei. Doesn't get put off by it. Looks to make the big dive now down onto the door, and he does so. Almost wheel-to-wheel contact as they come around by outer zone 4. Ryusei has to back up to avoid making contact now. Shoots down the inside, narrows up, dives onto the door, and pushes Jakub Kuzcek across the line. Mondello Park makes some noise for Ryusei and Jakub Kuzcek. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Ryusei Akiba!
Super popular decision there. Okay, so this is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be calculated aggression versus maybe aggression that's off the leash, and I'm interested to see exactly which one of these two techniques is going to become victorious, and we're going to know in about 5 minutes time, Eddie, or less.
Well, look at the aggression here from Jack Caldwell right on the back bumper of the S15 of Ryusei Akiba. Akiba once again, Mike, he's finding the grip somewhere. God knows what. More contact from Caldwell. He just seems to be a magnet to the rear bumper of every other S15 out in the circuit. Ryusei loses the bumper. The photographers have their phones out. Ryusei throws it down onto the wall. The rear end of that car absolutely mangled. And here comes Jack Caldwell hunting down the door, but he just can't find the proximity through the latter stages. Ryusei gets across the line. Guys, give it up for Ryusei Akiba and Jack Caldwell. Well,
after the last couple of years of JAFFest, we did have a smattering of rain, but we definitely didn't have anything like this, and they were fantastic events. So
it sounds like they are coming in over the hill. Jack Caldwell to lead in. Ryusei Akiba, big angle here from Jack Caldwell, lots of speed. Ryusei finds that grip. No fluctuation from Ryusei Akiba at all. Nice transition as he now looks to dive down the inside of Caldwell, who just throws on the anchor and then gets back on the power. But look at this from Ryusei Akiba. Needs to hold back here so he doesn't get caught. Perfect line for his position. And then struggles, makes the big dive onto the door, splashes through the floods and the puddles wheel to wheel as they cross the line. Mondello Park makes some noise for Jack Caldwell and Ryusei Akiba.
You were already clapping before we even said it. Thank you guys, and thank you for staying on here and giving these guys an audience to perform in front of in these conditions. It is very much appreciated, and thank you for supporting our
drifting. So ladies and gentlemen, the decision has come true and going through to the final. Give it up for Ryusei Akiba! Ryusei Akiba moving on to the final. Jack Caldwell going on to the third, fourth place playoff. Incredible stuff. The Japanese driver will have an opportunity to take down either Paulius Judicious or Dwayne McKeever in the final. So, Mike, one more battle to go. It is the final battle of the day at round one of the Irish Drift Series 2025, brought to you by Lucky Day Competitions. It is Ryusei Akiba, the Japanese visiting driver, in his Second ever time competing on this Mondello circuit, taking on the Northern Smoke Machine, Dwayne McKeever, as the sun comes out, pierced through the clouds to light up the circuit for the final run of the day. We are almost ready to get out the door, but we have one more job to do. We have to crown a winner here in Mondello Park. Who's going to take the silverware? Who's going to take top step on the podium? Here we go, Akiba to lead in Jack. Oh! What do you believe in both drivers?
Both drivers understeer. Both drivers understeer. Both drivers cannot stick the pace in. Ryusei absolutely firing the Sylvia in. Dwayne couldn't stick the pace. Then Ryusei understeers. They're back into formation now. Ryusei flipping the car back as they hit the limiters right here in front of us. The noise is incredible. You can feel the power of the engines through the ground. Oh, wow, look at Dwayne McKeever pushing over the line.
What have we just seen, Mike? What have we witnessed here in Mondello Park? For those of you who stayed in attendance to watch it, have we seen the undoing of Dwayne McKeever by Japanese driver Ryusei Akiba?
Oh, Eddie, I think it's all to play for. I think it's all to play for, Eddie. I mean,
this is definitely all to play for, Mike. Everything is up for grabs here. McKeever will be absolutely disgusted. He'll be... you can see by the way he's driving back to the start line, he's unhappy, Mike. He's going to be like a dog with a bone here now on the second half of this one.
Did you see Ryusei coming around on the cool down lap there? He pushed the front of the car. He deliberately understeered it around outer zone 4 there in order to clean the tyres and just scrub them to try to get some heat into the tyres. Great technique there by him, but both drivers understeering it, and I would say that one mistake almost cancelled out the other. So I think this is actually very, very level, despite the fact that there were 2 huge mistakes.
Yeah, 2 huge mistakes, but 2 separate huge mistakes as well. So this is, as you say, wide open. And I don't know, as the sun comes out here, a little bit of heat comes into the day. What did we say? The sun will come out just as we're finishing up in typical Irish fashion. But we've got that one run remaining, guys.
Get
your camera phones out, because this one is going to be electric. Everything up for grabs, and McKeever will not want to be beaten here. He's going to be rattled coming down the straight here, and Akiba is going to be wound up because he has an opportunity to take down one of Ireland's best drivers ever in Dwayne McKeever. Who's going to take the top step on the podium? Will it be McKeever? Will it be Akiba? We are about to find out as the engines roar as they leave the line. They slam through the gears. Here we go.
Yes.
McKeever, big angle into the first corner. McKeever dives on too much angle and he washes. Is that his opportunity lost?
He holds it, Eddie. He holds it. How did he hold it? He's back on the door, McKeever. How did he hold that? He's right back into formation. He's inside in McKeever's door. McKeever switches it back again. Akiba looks for the door. McKeever, he finds it. He's pushing him. He's literally pushing him. Contact.
Safe. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Dwayne McKeever and give it up for Ryusei Akiba!
Wow.
What a final.
That was worth all the rain. That was worth all the cold. That was worth waiting for.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you stayed for the final, you got an absolute treat. Mondello Park always delivers.
You know what, Eddie? The only people I envy here, or don't envy here, sorry, are the judges. What do you say about that one? What do you say about that? Guys, can we hear massive round of applause for Ryusei Akiba putting on the show for us here, and Dwayne McKeever, as always. My God, Eddie.
So, ladies and gentlemen, just a reminder, we will be delivering the results for our final 4 in front of the grandstand. Stay with us and celebrate with the drivers. What a show they have put on for you. And for those of you who stayed with us, thank you so much. This is what this sport is all about. We love the support that you give us. We love the support that you give the drivers as they get out of the cars. Give it up one more time for Dwayne McKeever. And give it up for Ryusei Akiba! And I can announce that we do have a decision. So join us in just a moment for the podium ceremony. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to round 2 of the Irish Drift Series, live from Bishop's Court Diff and Drift, brought to you, of course, as always, by Lucky Day Competitions and Red Bull.
Once again, full throttle through the next transition as the drivers approach outer zone 3 there, clipping point 3. Little bit of a decel zone just before clipping point 3 is allowed, and then they want to see the drivers staying a little bit late actually through 3. Kieran Hines mentioned that in briefing. They don't want drivers coming away early from clipping point 3 because it messes up your line into the last corner. So they want to see the drivers staying wide there, out by the wall, out through zone 3, and then lastly a nice snap transition back onto full throttle around outer zone 4 and full throttle commitment across the line.
Now, the man who a lot of people, you know, he's very quickly becoming a fan favourite here in Ireland, Ryusei Akiba.
Second place in the championship, Eddie. This is going to be a big one.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one. Love his driving style, and this track really going to lend itself towards his flair, his big angle, fast through the course. Look at the speed that he's able to carry, Mike. Dab of the handbrake as he comes into that first decel zone.
Yeah, just leaves zone 2 there a little bit early. The drone caught it there. He didn't fill out all of zone 2, but I like the entry, so it's going to be still a good score, I think.
Yeah, but of course leaving that zone early does set you up nicely for the wall run there at zone 3, so not sure if that'll hurt the score too much, but we will find out. But it was otherwise a very strong run from Ryusei. Will it threaten the scores in the 90s? It won't, Mike. An 85.7, still a very good score for Ryusei Akiba.
As Paulius' second score drops in, and it is an 81 for Paulius. Tiny improvement there as we move it along to our second place championship driver. We don't have Jack Caldwell, but we do have, who have we, Eddie?
Well, it's Ryusei Akiba. And Ryusei, as we say, with his exciting Japanese style, he's got an 85 on the first run, so he's well up the order there, Ryusei, sitting in 11th position. But in terms of championship points, he'd be ideally want an improvement here, get himself into a better battle position. The last thing he wants is to be staring down the barrel of a potential top 16, top 8 battle with the likes of a Dwayne McKeever or an Owen Magner or a Jakub Kuszczak. So the further up the order he can get himself, the better for his hopes. He does improve, an 89.3 for Ryusei Akiba.
We move it along to an interesting one here. It is our visiting
This
Japanese.
is actually a very interesting one, Mike, because Ryusei Akiba is a man on form, and you know, on paper you'd say he's going to beat David Curtis. David Curtis is like a hot and cold switch. You can just turn him on and turn him off. If he manages to turn himself on here, he has what it takes to beat Ryusei Akiba and maybe even surprise him and surprise everybody else as well.
Yeah, it's SR20 versus.
He could be wiped here.
He could exactly. David Curtis gets out of different sides of the bed in the morning, as you said, and if he gets out on the right side of the bed, he's very tough to beat. If he gets on the wrong side of the bed, it doesn't go so well for him. It's 4-cylinder versus 6-cylinder here. It's double Sylvia. And let's see what happens here as Ryusei leads us in. Beautiful initiation once again from the Japanese driver. Curtis with a slightly late transition there, catches himself out big time now. Eddie, Curtis is in big trouble here.
Yeah, big trouble, because that's some big mistakes there, Mike. He's been offline, he's bogged down, he's getting himself back into it. But look at the line from Ryusei Akiba. Absolutely nails the course. Perfect lead line from the Japanese driver.
He's looking like a guy who could take this championship. What a story that would be for a Japanese driver to win the Irish championship.
Well, it really would be incredible. I mean, we've had international drivers take the top step on the podium. The streak is long gone, but no international driver has ever taken a full championship season, and Ryusei having that opportunity and sitting in a perfect position for it. He's just got to come through unscathed here, control the aggression. Certainly looked as though the advantage was in his favour as he looks to turn the screw here now, dives on.
And we can announce that Ryusei Akiba does indeed get the win, moves on to the top 16. He wasn't.
So, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your top 16 drivers. Dwayne, I always love talking to you, but you never make me feel too great about myself. You know, there's a little bit of a height difference here, okay? Round one win.
So we move it along, Eddie. It is a big one in terms of the championship.
Well, it certainly is, because Ryusei Akiba is sitting in second position. Dwayne McKeever's already in the top 8. Here we go. Fionn Roach on the job of chase driver, and he's having the time of his life back behind the wheel of his S14. The car that was supposed to be for sale, as he said. His father probably not going to be too happy if he starts bashing it up. But look at this. So much aggression in the chase position as Ryusei dabs that full brake just to try and settle the car before the transition. But look at the aggression here from Fionn Roach. As he said, a bad weekend at Drift Masters. Came here you'd be hoping for a tidier affair here to try and settle this one, or some major mistakes. But yeah, let's hope for the tidier affairs. Fionn Roach leads them in. Can he feel that outer zone, in and out of it. Again, just not wide enough through outer zone 1. Can he correct that as they come into outer zone 2? Yeah, much better this time around as Ryusei just moves into formation there, tucks down the inside, needs to move back here just to avoid getting caught down the inside, and does so well for lunging forward now. Needs to find some aggression through the ladder stages. Better job at the final zone for Fionn Roach, but Ryusei right there on the door as they cross the line.
Guys, let's hear a round of applause for Ryusei Akiba, guys, all the way over from Japan, shaking hands here with the one and only Fionn Roach, our Drift Masters driver, representing Ireland and Mallow. And Ryusei Akiba progresses, guys, to the grade 8. Another grade 2 J car, actually. So you know what? If Jack Mawhinney gets through, he is going to have a grade 2 J car in the final. But now he has to get through one of these first if he gets through his next battle. It is Ryusei Akiba versus the story of the weekend as well, Jake McElveen. Look at this. Akiba fires it in the chase position. McElveen with the lovely lead run. Look at this, Akiba. What a dive. Where did that come from, Ed?
Yeah, where did that come from is right, but as you say, what a story. A Pro 2 junior taking on a Japanese driver, and you know, two stars of the future stars of the sport. And McElveen driving the wheels off that E46. Not a whole lot he can do to try and shake the tail of Ryusei Akiba. But
you know, he's showing the class of the Japanese drivers. He's showing the ethos of the Japanese way of drifting. And I have to say that I'm loving it. But Jake McElveen is one of the stories of the weekend. Look how far he's come, but he doesn't have the pace of the Sylvia coming in. There's a big gap opening up here, guys.
Yeah, not able to get the power down for Jake McElveen, and it costs him, but he manages to get back into this, and he has to make a big dive. Did he go too hard, or was there a little bit of slowing there from Ryusei Akiba? That'll be for the judges to decide, but unfortunately for Jake McElveen, that could be the end to an otherwise dream weekend. And you know what, Mike, even if he does bow out at this point, I don't think he's going to be going away without it. We'll just have a decision. So who is going through to the final four? And it is going to be Ryusei Akiba. Ryusei Akiba moves on to the final four. You know, a very competitive car on these tighter technical circuits. I think it's still wet enough here for him to be competitive.
Whoa! In the Lines is in big trouble here, guys. Fires it in on too much angle and he's off track, completely off track. Is that four wheels for In the Lions? Is it already all over? Did he just come in too hot? Did Mawhinney do something funny on the initiation? I have to say, I heard the rev limiter with the Corolla. That's what this run is going to come down to, Eddie. The rest of the run might be null and void here. In the Lines is back in the pocket here. He's trying to find the door to Corolla, but you know what, Ed? I heard nothing. Oh, this is crazy. This is the story of the weekend, along with Jake McElveen, who we just saw. But In the Lines is opening up a big gap. No mistakes this time from the lead driver in the 180. Jack Mawhinney, I think all he has to do here, Eddie, is not make a big mistake, and he's booking his place in the semi-final.
He just needs to keep that car on angle, Mike, from where I'm sitting, in order to get himself into the final four. You can see how much more difficult it is for him to steer that car now as the track becomes patchy. But I think perhaps just enough.
Yeah, I would say. So Jack Mawhinney versus Ryusei Akiba, our second semi-final after a crazy battle between Harry Kerr and Dwayne McKeever.
But how iconic is this? A Japanese driver taking on, all the way up to Ireland, taking on the most recognisable and important Japanese car in drift history. And look at this, Ryusei Akiba. Well, I mean, Jack Mawhinney doing an incredible job, even on a dry track, to get that car onto the wide qualifying line. Ryusei Akiba showing no signs of having any difficulty and being given a really, really chaseable lead line here as well. Really good job.
What a line from Jack Mawhinney.
Example, like, a running in Mondello Park.
Mawhinney has to go right now. He's late. He's too late here.
Yeah, far too late.
Yeah,
far too late for Jack Mawhinney, and one step too far, and unfortunately, if the rain does come, it's coming at the wrong time for Jack Mawhinney to try and get himself into a final. But he will be going into a final four, and perhaps that rain will arrive just in time for his battle with Dwayne McKeever. But guys, Ryusei Akiba, well, he's going to be an honorary Irishman.
We can ask for him to put it up to the incredible horsepower of Ryusei Akiba's car. And yes, indeed, Ryusei Akiba books his place in the final. And guys, this is very... Wow, and Dwayne McKeever doing everything right as well in the lead. Now, guys, it's all to play for. Dwayne McKeever chases in Harry Kerr.
Yeah, here we go, second half of this one. Contact already through the first corner. Does Harry Kerr have the measure for Dwayne McKeever, and is he about to take...
It's going to be Harry Kerr! Harry Kerr takes down the Northern Smoke Machine, Dwayne McKeever.
Moving himself well up the pecking order, but he's coming up against the man who is on back-to-back finals. Well, they've changed back to wet from dry. It's been torrential, but these guys, importantly, Mike, they've driven the track like this all day long. It's gone wet, it's gone dry, now it's fully wet. They'll know the setup. They have excelled no matter what conditions we have thrown at them. Here we go, Harry Kerr to lead them in for the final run of the day. Ryusei Akiba to give chase. Kerr on the perfect line. Ryusei right on the door. They switch it back onto the wall. Perfect from both drivers. No mistakes. So fluid. Kerr hugging that outer line, but he just can't shake Ryusei, who just looks so smooth behind him, Mike.
Ryusei, he's quite early on the transition though, and it causes him to miss outer zone 3.
Yeah, early transition there for Ryusei. It loses him some line, and maybe, just maybe, in a battle of very few mistakes, that could be the point that costs him that chance at the top step on the podium. Remember, you can check out all his content on YouTube on Reverse the Time, and they'll be posting all Ryusei's content as he makes his charge through the Irish Drift Series. And check him out, make sure and give the page a follow.
Eddie, would you say that was the perfect lead line? Let's move on.
Way to drop the tone, Mike.
Let's move on. I think it was the perfect lead line though from Harry Kerr. Ryusei doing everything right up to that point.
He certainly wasn't being careful anyway.
He wasn't being careful. Indeed he wasn't. Indeed he wasn't being careful. He's never careful, is Harry Kerr, the belly money bomber. So, you know what? I don't know. These have been the best drivers from each side of the bracket, to be fair. They've made their way to the final. They've made it on merit. They've deserved every win. Sometimes you see drivers kind of getting the rub of the green and maybe getting some mechanical failures help them out. But you know what? These have been the best. And this is the last run of the day. Bishop's Court, are you ready for the last run of the day?
Yeah, cream of the crop rises to the top. Here we go. Akiba, Harry Kerr. Big entry from Akiba. Harry Kerr right there with him, equal to the task, as Akiba slows it down a little bit as he just tries to keep on that wide line, but Harry Kerr is just glued to the door of that S15. There's no going to be reversing the time here. Hard on the foot brake goes Akiba to try and settle that car, but he keeps the door open for Harry Kerr, who makes a perfect transition. Wide line from Akiba, on the door goes Harry Kerr as they cross the line. Our final run of the day is in the books, but the question is, Mike, is there enough to separate them? Is there enough to find a winner? Who's going to take top step on the podium? Ladies and gentlemen, hit them with a wall of sound. Give it up for Harry Kerr and Ryusei Akiba, our two finalists. Mike, neither one of these deserve to go home without that champagne and without that title of the King of Bishop's Court in 2025.
King of the Court, exactly. Who will be crowned King of the Court? And you know what? I'm looking at this one, and Harry Kerr, it's very close, but if I had to, I think one more time might be on the cards, but if I had to call it, Eddie.
Separate people, and I am hearing official ruling from the judges. Guess what? We're going to go one more time.
Ryusei is more consistent, absolutely,
yeah.
But Harry Kerr has that X factor.
It's certainly knife edge. We're about to find out. It's the final battle. One more time. Harry Kerr leads in Ryusei Akiba. Harry Kerr, perfect through the first section. Akiba on the door, just what he wanted to see. Kerr takes it onto the wall. Again, gets into that outer zone, and Ryusei, I mean, look at this, Mike. They are just glued to each other. Perfect proximity, maintaining consistent proximity throughout. Just loses some ground now as they make that transition, but tucks it back in. Almost loses the bumper off the rear end of Harry Kerr's car as he throws it onto the door and to go across the line. No mistakes from Akiba. Pressure onto Harry Kerr here now in the chase position.
Yeah, pressure onto Harry Kerr. Maybe Akiba could have just been a little bit tidier on the last transition. He ended up in slightly the wrong part of the track, but as we watch the replay around here now, let's just have a look at that. Both drivers, Akiba, by the time he got to Kerr's position there with the cars, he probably was on relatively the same angle. Maybe a tiny bit less angle than Kerr, but watch this here now from Akiba. He just seems to not quite get the car to bounce through the transition as Kerr can do. Doesn't quite get on the door, but overall a great chase from the Japanese driver, a great lead from the Northern Irish driver, and I mean, it's still all to play for. I think it's possibly a 5-5 or a tiny advantage to Kerr here maybe.
So here we go, second half of the one more time battle. Ryusei to lead them in. Will there be enough to separate them after these two runs? We're about to find out as Ryusei throws it in hard and fast. And look at this, once again, Harry Kerr equal to the task.
Wow.
Oh, what a transition from Harry Kerr as he throws it onto the door. He's glued to the S15. He's going super aggressive, more proximity than Akiba. Can he manage to just make that fast dive transition that Mike has spoken about? We've seen from him.
Oh, Akiba dives on angle.
Oh, just has to back out of it, but he makes it work. Incredible stuff from Harry Kerr as they both cross the line. Mike, you're laughing, you're loving that one.
Wow, what a run. Akiba dials on the angle just before the finish. Harry Kerr seemed to have nowhere to go. It looked like he's shortened the nose of that BMW, popped back out on the other side onto Akiba's door. Akiba's on a beautiful lead line here. Kerr is pushing him around the track around zone 2 here. Watch the transition. Doesn't quite get that spring transition that Kerr, he actually sacrifices zone 3 quite a lot there. Look, there's just the tiniest bit of contact, I'd say, between both drivers. The drone just caught it there. I don't know how we came out of that one without contact. Now, Harry Kerr, he was way more aggressive, definitely, and had the proximity. He did sacrifice zone 3 quite a lot. He was quite shallow. But I think overall, Eddie, I don't know, but I am hearing news.
We are hearing news, and we are going to announce it. There is a decision, and we will announce who's going to take first, second, and third down at the podium. So do join us, guys, in a few moments' time for our podium celebrations.
Northern Smoke Machine in third position is Dwayne McKeever. We had a visiting fantastic Japanese driver who is showing us what the heart and soul of Japanese driving style is. So consistent all weekend. And then we had a relatively local man, a Northern Irish driver, the Ballymoney bomber, Harry Kerr on the other side. Absolutely crazy stuff. A fantastic final, guys, but I can announce in second position, once again, all the way from Japan, it's Ryusei Akiba! So we better get this over with because the other 2 champagne bottles are absolutely already ready to go. Guys, your winner of IDS Round 2 2025, it's the Ballymoney Bomber, it's Harry Kerr! Crazy. So easy.